Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the corporate world's really important paperwork, and sometimes find out that a company is really just having a quiet day at the office. Today we're diving into a filing from AB Private Credit Investors Corporation, and it seems like this report is mostly about a vote. Let's see what the shareholders decided. If you appreciate these deep dives into corporate filings, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hey, we've got a Discord community where we chat about all this stuff, so check the link in the description below. So what we have here is a Form 8K, which is basically a way for companies to report important events that shareholders should know about, and they need to do it pretty quickly. This is a current report, meaning it is not a regular update, like a quarterly or annual report, but rather something specific happened. This just tells us which rule of the big securities law book they're following to make this report. It is all about transparency and making sure investors have timely information. The key date here is the 16th of September 2025. That is when the main event we were talking about took place. This is our company, AB Private Credit Investors Corporation. They are incorporated in Maryland, which is a US state, and their principal executive offices are located in Austin, Texas. That is where the main decisions are made. This next number, 814-01196, is their commission file number. Think of it like a company S social security number with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, and this other number, 81 to 2,491,356, is their IRS employer identification number. That's their tax ID number. They also listed a phone number, but honestly, for these reports, we're usually more interested in what the company is doing than how to call them. Now, this is interesting. They've checked the box indicating they are an emerging growth company. This means they are relatively new and get to follow some slightly different, often less strict rules for reporting, especially regarding new accounting standards. It's like a startup getting some breathing room. Alright, we've reached the heart of the matter this section. Item 5.07 is all about what happened at a meeting where the stockholders, the owners of the company, got to vote on important company decisions. So, on the 16th of September, AB Private Credit Investors Corporation, which they refer to as the fund, held its annual meeting for its shareholders. Think of it as the yearly check. In with the ultimate bosses, the investors who own pieces of the company. And the good news for the company is that the shareholders approved two main things. The requisite vote just means they got enough yes votes to make it official. On the record date, which was the 29th of July 2025, there were over 68 million shares of common stock that had the right to vote. That is a lot of voting power. And to have a valid meeting, a certain number of shares need to be represented, either by people showing up or by sending in their votes ahead of time. This is called a quorum. In this case, over 36 million shares were counted, which was enough to make sure the meeting was official and any votes taken were valid. The first thing that came up for a vote was whether to keep Richard S. Pontin on the board of directors. He is in a Class III director role, which just means his term is staggered. He was up for re-election for another 3-year term, and if approved, he LL stay on until 2028. This is pretty standard for annual meetings, making sure the company has leadership in place. Now let's look at how he did for Richard S. Pontin. There were 35,217,975.59 votes for him. That's a massive majority. Against him, there were only 371,087.057 votes. And then there were 434,826.351 abstentions. Abstaining means they didn't vote yes or no. So overwhelmingly, the shareholders wanted Mr. Pontin to continue his role. It looks like he has their confidence. The second proposal was to approve the company S choice for their independent auditor for 2025. That is PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP, often known as PwC. Hiring an independent accounting firm is super important. They are like the company S financial referees, checking the books to make sure everything is reported accurately and honestly. Shareholders need to approve who these referees are. For this proposal, 35,344,683.673 votes were in favour. Again, a very strong majority. Only 192,301.986 votes were against ratifying PwC, and 486,903.339 shares were abstained from voting. So both of the main proposals got the thumbs up from the shareholders. Richard Pontin will continue as a director, and PwC will keep doing their auditing work for the company. This suggests a stable environment at AB Private Credit Investors Corporation, at least from the perspective of shareholder approval of these specific items. The report itself was signed on the 19th of September, 2025, just a few days after the meeting, and the signature is from Leon Hirth, who is listed as the secretary. This confirms that the company is officially reporting these results. When we look at these results, it is clear that AB Private Credit Investors Corporation had a smooth annual meeting from a voting perspective. The re-election of a director with such a strong majority shows that the current leadership, at least in the eyes of the shareholders who voted, is on the right track. Similarly, the ratification of their auditor, PwC, indicates confidence in the company's financial oversight and reporting. Now, it is important to remember that this 8K filing primarily focuses on a specific event, the shareholder vote. It doesn't give us the full financial picture like a 10Q or 10K would. We don't see revenue numbers, profit margins, or changes in assets and liabilities here. However, what we do see is shareholder sentiment on key governance matters. A lack of significant opposition to these proposals suggests a relatively stable and perhaps even positive outlook from the shareholder base on these specific issues. The fact that they are an emerging growth company could mean they are still scaling their operations, or perhaps recently went public. This often comes with opportunities for growth, but also higher risks as they establish themselves in the market. The strong shareholder support in this vote, though, is a good sign of investor confidence. What are my thoughts on this filing? Well, it is a clean report. It shows that the company is functioning as expected in terms of its governance and shareholder engagement on procedural matters. The overwhelming support for director re-election and auditor ratification is a positive indicator. It reduces immediate concerns about internal disputes or major governance shake-ups. It tells us that for the key people and processes that shareholders voted on, things are proceeding smoothly. The significant number of shares represented at the meeting, over 36 million, also indicates good shareholder participation, which is vital for a healthy corporate environment. It means that a substantial part of the company's ownership was engaged in these decisions. However, without the financial details, it is hard to gauge the company's overall business health or future prospects. This filing is more about the mechanics of how the company is run rather than the raw financial performance. It is like getting a report card on how well the class president was elected, but not on how the students are doing academically. The notable risks or opportunities here are tied to their status as an emerging growth company. The opportunity is growth and market expansion, potentially unburdened by extensive regulatory requirements for a while. The risk is that this lighter regulatory load might mask underlying issues, if not managed carefully, or that they might struggle to scale effectively. My conclusion here is that AB Private Credit Investors Corporation appears to be operating with shareholder approval on key formal decisions. The company seems stable in terms of its governance and auditor relationship, which is a foundational positive. But to get a true picture of their success, we need to see their financial performance reports. Alright, that is our breakdown of AB Private Credit Investors Corporation's latest filing. What are your thoughts on these shareholder votes? Do you see this as a strong sign for the company? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and it really helps us out. And of course, subscribe for more decoding of corporate documents. Don't forget to join the Discord for more discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Corporate Decoder.